This meeting is being recorded.
No, can't hear you. You're still not there, Max. I don't know what's going on. Morning, Sandra.
Hi.
Is that working?
Yes,
Oh, okay.
now we
Excellent.
can hear you. Good morning.
There we
I'm
go.
glad this timing worked out. We're still a couple of minutes early, so we'll just there should be a few more of us. So Max, I had a handful of people doing my Motherhood Mosh Pit month training.
Nice.
And then I was telling some of my other business buddies that about our serendipitous meeting, and they all were like, we want to come too. So there will be a few extra people
Perfect.
here that aren't actually in my program, but are very keen to hear what you have to say. Didn't think
Yeah. Yeah. Happy
you.
to accommodate.
Excellent. What's the time where you are?
It is 4:58 p.m.
On
And where are you?
Thursday.
I am in Phoenix, Arizona.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Sorry. On Thursday. On Thursday.
Yes.
You guys like my sign?
It's backwards, so we can't read it.
Is it?
Yeah, like you've got you.
Oh, rats.
If you go into video, and you can mirror your image. So if you go into the video settings,
Okay.
there is a way it says mirror my image or something. Good morning, Chris. We can't see you, but I know you're there.
Hey, Chris. That's really funny because
Hi.
when I have my live stream, which I've got to hop off at right at 6 for because I do that every day. I have this sign, and I guess YouTube automatically mirrors it, and so this sign
Yes.
for them reads perfectly. And I'm confused because like I'm looking at my screen and it's reading well, like it reads for me. That's very curious that
Well, you'll
That's
have to
very
tell us
for
what
you
it
guys.
says.
Yeah.
It just says, ask me how to build habits, 96% success rate.
Love it. Good morning,
Yeah.
Shannon.
How do I may look young, but don't let that fool you. I'm not very Zoom savvy. Like I know how to share my screen and everything, but this other. Oh, video settings. Okay, let me see here. Oh, wait, yeah, it's already mirrored.
So untick it.
Maybe unmirror it?
Try the
Can you
other
read
way.
it now?
No, it's bizarre.
Wait, what? Because it was already mirrored. Okay, hold on. Now let me. So I just mirrored it again, and it's still backwards for you guys?
Maybe it's because we're in Australia.
Yeah. No, but then shouldn't it be upside down, Sandra?
It should.
True. That's funny.
Oh.
Well, yeah.
All right. Miranda's
Ask me
jumping
how to
in.
build habits, 96% success rate.
That's right. All right. So others might just jump in as we go, but I'm conscious that you're also tight on time, Max. So I just thank you, first of all, for taking your time to come and join us and share this with everyone. I have been,
Of course.
since we serendipitously met in a podcast interview room where no podcaster turned up, and we just started chatting, and then we got off and reconnected a little bit later that day. And Max went through this process with me, and I'm very happy to say, Max, it's working every single night, and it's not always in the time.
That's what's up.
It's not always in the time, but it doesn't matter what time I get to bed now. I have got to pick up my book. It's like, yeah, it's been brilliant.
Boom.
And that's why I've got so many people here, I suppose, today, is because I keep telling everyone how brilliant this method is. And you guys would have had the opportunity to see Max's intro video that I shared with you guys yesterday. So you know the basics, but what struck me is that Max has done so much reading and exploring and trying out all the different habit systems that we all have come across. And I know amongst us, many of us have had the conversations, about things like, Atomic Habits and Brendan Burchard and his, fantastic, all the brilliant things. And particularly in this room, we talk a lot about how they're all dudes writing habits for dudes. And that doesn't, none of them really hit the mark. And what I love about what Max has done is that he's taken all of that and he's found a way to create a very simple system that he calls the Triple S method that actually counters, it takes all the best of all of those things, but counters that little piece that I've always felt was missing, that these dudes, as we'll call them, never seemed to get, so that habits just didn't stick in the way that we, would really like them to. And so I'm going to hand it over to him and let him explain to you and teach you and talk you through it. Max, if you need a volunteer and nobody else to actually work through it and nobody else is willing to put their hand up, then I'm happy to go through it with you again if that helps you with your explanation of the system.
Yeah, no, there will definitely be that part of it. Hopefully I know I'm super intimidating, right? So I'm sure everyone will be absolutely petrified to volunteer. I can guarantee it. But no, yeah, it'll be really good. Am I able to share my screen here?
You should be able to, and if not, it should ask me for permission to give you permission, which I will.
Okay, let's do that then.
Oh, there you go.
I'll just start here. Okay, awesome. Can you all see that pretty well? Everything coming up. Okay, awesome. Yeah, at any point, feel free to just like unmute yourself, interrupt me, ask any questions. If you raise your hand, do the raise your hand thing in Zoom, I'm probably not going to see it because I get pretty locked in when I'm explaining this stuff because I'm obsessed with it. So just unmute yourself and just be like, hey, I have a question, and just stop me. So yeah, I won't be checking the chat or anything. Use that, just unmute yourself and interrupt me. But yeah, so this is my company, this is my brand, Habit Engineer. I teach people how to build habits that stick. I currently run a community that is specifically for family-oriented, busy moms. Not only teaching them how to build their habits, but really the community is focused more on helping them to be consistent with their habits, helping to support them in every way there. So that's the gist. This is my favorite thing. Just like, who am I? Why should you care? Right? I've got a little video that I'll explain. It'll make sense. Yeah. Can y'all hear it? No? Okay.
No, it's not. The sound's not coming through.
Okay. Well, it's a pretty short clip, and you don't really need the sound, luckily. But so that that video, that clip is kind of my I guess you could say that was the starting point for everything for me. It's just that little bit of Batman, where dude, I don't know, like as a 17-year-old, I was overweight. I was living a really sedentary lifestyle. And I just like I didn't like who I was, but I also wasn't motivated or disciplined or anything really enough to do something about it, right? I was comfortable in my discomfort with myself, I guess. And then I was watching this movie. I was laying on the floor. It was like December of 2017 or something. I was literally just laying on the carpet at probably midnight or something watching this movie. And this scene comes on where Christian Bale just gets up and he, as you saw, he falls to the ground and does these push-ups. And for whatever reason, like that snapped for me. That discomfort like came to the surface, and I was just like, that's what I want. That is it. That's what I'm gonna go get. And I wanted it so badly that I actually started working out while I was watching the movie. I started doing push-ups, sit-ups, like all that kind of stuff while I was sitting there watching the movie on midnight, some random night. It was probably a school night. I was still in high school at the time. And ever since then, that was kind of the initial catalyst for my journey of self-improvement. And I like threw everything into changing myself physically. So like the next day, I did like a full 180. I cut the portion sizes for the food that I've been eating in half. I started running and lifting weights. So like 2-a-days workouts, and I did that 6 days a week. I started drinking way more water. And I cut out like basically almost all sugars. And it was a ton, right? It was intense. Because I had the time capability for that at the time, right? I'm a high school student. I've got a little bit more leeway then. And so I 2 months after that, I had lost, or after I watched this scene, I had lost 20 pounds. 2 months after that, I was able to actually do the Batman push-up. And then 2 months after that, I had a six-pack, like all the things that everyone's excited for, right? Or at least guys are excited for. Maybe not the girls. That's okay. Y'all know what the equivalent is. And so yeah. And that was kind of the thing. But I reached around that 6-month mark, and life started changing a lot for me. I graduated high school. I moved across the country to start attending college, and I didn't know anyone there, didn't know much anything, and just a ton of things started changing, and I realized that what I had been doing wasn't sustainable. Like, it wasn't sustainable for the long term. And so ever since then, it started subconsciously, but I have been trying to find a way that I can not just keep the changes that I've made, because I also, as a teenager, I had to beat 5 different addictions growing up, or I guess I should say I chose to beat 5 different addictions growing up. So after doing that, I like my obsession has just been to figure out how I can keep the changes that I've made and then keep changing and do that in a sustainable way, because I absolutely refuse to go back to who I was. And so that leads me into the Triple S method, which is the most effective habit building method in the world. And it allows you, it taps into this quote here from James Clear. So, habits are the compound interest of self-improvement, right? If any of you are pretty good with numbers, if you see compound interest, you should be like, light bulb, oh my gosh, this is great, right? Because compound interest is the 8th wonder of the world. And so what James Clear is saying here is true, and it's that your habits, if you can stick with them long enough to tap into the compounding effect of it, will create exponential returns when it comes to improving yourself, right? But the trick here is that you have to actually stick with your habits for long enough in order to get the gains. You think about it from a financial perspective. When does most of the financial reward come from your compounding? It doesn't come in year 5, it doesn't come in year 10, it doesn't come in year 20. It comes in year 30, 40, 50, right? And so the Triple S method meets people where they're at and allows them to tap into the compound effect for self-improvement by teaching them how they can build habits in such a way that they will actually stick long enough in order to experience the exponential returns. So that's the kind of the genesis for the whole idea, a little bit of my backstory there. Super simple. Eva can attest to it. It's very easy. I've actually taught this to my 6-year-old niece. It worked for her. She was able to understand it in like a 5-minute sit down conversation we had where I drew it out on a napkin, right? So it's really nice. The first S is specific. The way that you make your habit specific, I want all of you guys to have a habit in your head right now, just something that you want, a habit that you want to be more consistent with. And I've got, at the end of this, I've got some QR codes and everything that you can scan. It'll give you a, just like a paper of all of this written out. So if you're like, oh, I need to take notes, I need to worry about this, don't worry about it. I can give you everything at the end. But yeah, just think about, okay, I've got this habit in my mind. How would I build this out in this method? So specific, that's the first step, the first S. The way that you make your habit specific is you assign it a what, a when, and a where, right? The idea being is that you want to make your habit so specific that you can visualize it like you're watching a movie in your head. So for example, one of my habits when I was undergoing my weight loss journey was I made the habit to drink 12 ounces of water before and after every meal while I was sitting at the dinner table, right? And so as I was saying that, like you guys were able to picture that scene, right? I've got another example down here. Instead of saying, okay, I want to read more, let's be honest, that's not a habit. That's a goal. Your habits are what lead you to your goals, not the other way around. And so you need to have habits that will actually be able to get to your goals. And so instead of saying, okay, I'm going to read today, you say, I'm going to read for 30 minutes a day from 7 to 7:30 p.m. while sitting on the sofa in the living room with the light on, right? And that has a totally different feel and specificity to it than just saying, oh, okay, I want to read today, right? You all know, like I know you know in your head you've had those examples where you told yourself you were going to do something and then you didn't do it. And you think back to those most of the time when that's happening, it's because you were vague, right? If you make something hard for your brain to forget, it'll be hard for it to forget. If you make it easy to forget, it's probably going to be pretty easy to forget. It sounds so simple, but how often do we just forget that point? And so that's why we focus on making it specific. The second S is simple. So once you have the specificity of your habit locked in, you take that and you say, okay, do I feel 100% confident in my ability to stick to my habit every single day for the rest of my life? No questions asked, right? And this question is exaggerated on purpose for a few different reasons. The biggest one is that before, when you've got a habit that's so specific, most people aren't used to making their habits that specific in the first place. And so they already are like feeling pretty confident. They're feeling pretty good about themselves. They're like, oh yeah, like I'm pretty sure I can do this most of the time, right? But the issue there is you only said pretty sure and you only said most of the time. What happens, and I know you guys all have personal experiences with this too, is that you can do something for most of the time, and then on those few times where you can't do it, You stop doing it, you miss one day becomes two becomes a week, and a week becomes, oops, I guess I'm just never going to go back to this, right? Happens to a ton of the population every time New Year's rolls around. You see the gym fill up, couple of weeks, couple of months after, you see the gym empty. And it's because people haven't built their habits in a simple enough way that they can actually be consistent with it long term. Part of the reason, the other big part of the reason why we want to focus on 100% confidence in your habits is so that you've got something that's so simple that when you do mess up, because the expectation isn't really that you get 100%. It is possible. It is totally realistic to have a 100% success rate with your habits. I have a few of them. Like that is within the realm of possibility for every person watching this. But it's not necessarily like for a lot of people, it's just the habit that you might be trying to implement isn't so critically important that life gets in the way. It just happens. That's okay. But the key here is that you've got a habit that is so simple that you can hop right on the bandwagon with it. If you miss a day, 2 weeks, or sorry, a day, 2 days, whatever, it's something that's so easy, you can just hop right back on. Then the third S is seal. So you want to seal your habit with a 1 second celebration. B.F. Skinner, famous psychologist, did a bunch of studies, basically showed that what gets rewarded gets repeated. And so what you want to do is you want to attach some type of reward at the end of your habit, at its completion, to make your brain feel good. And therefore, your brain will associate that action with feeling good. And again, what gets rewarded gets repeated. Your brain wants to do what makes it feel good. You're going to be more inclined to do that thing. I find that sealing and the types of rewards that work usually fall into two camps. You've got extrinsic rewards or intrinsic rewards. Some people are a lot more motivated by external factors, like one of their friends saying, hey, did you do your habit today, and congratulating them, like a text or something. Or they eat a cookie, or they pat themselves on the back, or like do something, right? Something external. But there's also a number of other people. This is the camp that I fall into, the camp my mom falls into, is they're more motivated by the intrinsic reward of like, hey, I just did what I said I was going to do, right? It's building that character of integrity, proving that you can trust yourself, which for me is huge, because oftentimes, I mean, how often do we do things or do we say that we're going to do things and not do them, right? Pretty often. And we want to avoid that as much as possible to prove that we can do what we say we're going to do, build that character of integrity, and become someone who we trust. So that's it. That's the triple S method. It's very nice, very simple. So again, specific, simple, sealed. I want to spend the rest of our time here. If anyone would like to volunteer, if they have a habit in mind that they want to be consistent with, just let's engineer it. We'll engineer it right now. That'll give people a chance to like really see it in action. Is that Shannon raising her hand?
Raise a hand. Yeah, Shannon, go just unmute and you can.
Yeah, just what's the habit, Shannon? Drop it.
Yeah, sure. Okay, can you hear me?
Yep.
Lovely. Okay, so the habit I want to do is around sleep, because that's connected to good parenting and also weight loss.
Yeah, it is.
So what I was thinking of is getting into bed by 10 p.m. every night and like waking up at 5:30 every morning, pretty much. Because that's 7
about
hours.
7.5 hours.
Well, that's 7 hours because, if my brain takes a while to sleep, 7 hours.
Oh, okay.
Is my focus. So is that specific enough?
No, but I have some questions before, and we'll make sure we'll make it specific enough. So,
Okay.
what is stopping you from being consistent with that right now? Because obviously, like you're here, you say it's something you want to do. I'm sure you've had the thoughts in the past, but like, what has stopped you from, well, like, why aren't you doing that already? Does that make
Yeah,
sense?
I think it's around I get derailed parenting and stuff in the daytime, and I don't get enough work on my business done. So it's all quiet at night, and I'm like, oh, thank God, I can work on my business. And I'm like, I'm in a flow. It's 11 p.m. I don't care. Let's just knock out this blog or whatever. So yeah, it's not ideal. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And so, are you with this habit? Are you attempting to switch that so you have the quiet time in the morning before the kids are up, or what's the end goal?
That's my intention. That's my intention. If I not if when I get either just half an hour before they wake up for business stuff plus half an hour for yoga, that's gonna feel amazing. And I think
I
that'll
do love
set
yoga.
myself up. I think that'll like really set myself up. I was tuning into something that you're saying recently, and I've started to give myself a sticker at night. Like when I either get the 7 hours or I do a sweaty amount of movement, when I track that at night, I give myself a sticker. I've already sort of tuned into that reward thing, but I've only just started
Love
that.
it. Yeah, no, I love that. That'll fit right in. So yeah, no, okay. So this is really good, and I'll tell you why. So you've already recognized, like most people would say, oh, my habit is, or maybe not most people, but many people would say, oh, my habit is I want to like wake up in the morning and do work, right? And have that quiet time in the morning. But you've already moved past that to thinking about, okay, I need to actually prime my environment in order to accomplish, and then that habit will just come as a result, right, of the environment that I've primed. So you're already like, oh, okay, I need to make sure that I'm getting in bed by a certain time, getting a certain amount of sleep, and that will help me to like then the flow of that work time will already just happen, right? So good, kudos to you. Great understanding, great self-awareness. So I would say like your habit specifically with that then, it's not going to be necessarily getting a certain amount of sleep. It's just going to be making sure that you get to bed at the time you need to, right?
Yeah.
And so you said 10 p.m. Okay, so you want to be in bed by 10 p.m. What is your like nighttime routine? Like, how long does that usually take you?
Yeah, it does take almost an hour from the time I turn off the computer, do a few dishes, have a shower, tidy up. Yeah, it takes almost an hour to actually get into bed. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So I would submit that your habit isn't, I need to be in bed by 10. Your habit is, I need to stop work, anything that I'm doing with work at 9 and go and do my nightly routine so I'm ready to be in bed at 10, because your brain is already has that loop. It's like, oh, okay, I need to do these things and then I get into bed, right?
Yeah, and
so
I
we just want to tap into that already.
I actually thought to myself about this 9 o'clock thing, stopping work by 9 o'clock many times, and I had in the goals, you know, you're going to stop work by 9 p.m. And I don't know what happened. I just I override it often at night with the oh, they finally got into bed at 8:30. Oh, I'm finally gonna, you know.
Yeah. And so that's why the second step, the simple step in the Triple S method, is so important. So if you were to put that your nightly routine in what, when, and where for me, what would that look like?
Oh, you mean like after turning off the computer kind of thing?
Yeah. So like if you're and correct me if I'm misremembering or anything, but I'm saying like something like, okay, my what is I do my nightly routine, and then the where is like around the house, the different things that you have to do, and then the when would be at 9 p.m. right?
Okay, so something like, this is the new habit. I turn my computer off at 9 p.m. and then I go to the kitchen, tidy up, I have a shower, do some breathing and go to sleep. Is that what you mean?
If that's your nightly routine, then yes. It would be like, okay, so from 9 to 10 p.m. I am going to do this, the things that you already generally are doing, but usually it seems like, and correct me if I'm wrong, they're getting kind of moved back, right? Or maybe missed altogether, whatever. And it's like, okay, I want to have this 9 to 10 p.m. I do this, and this, all these things around the house. So the house is where, ideally, well, actually, we'll get into that in the next step. So, okay, so that's the what, when, and where, right? Doing your nightly routine is the what. The when would be between 9 and 10, like starting at 9 through 10 p.m. Then the where was around the house. So remember, simple, okay? So keep that in your mind. And I'll ask you, you feel 100% confident in your ability to stick to that habit every single day for the rest of your life?
Not entirely, because I've tried the whole 9 p.m. thing before, but maybe I could weave in some sort of tech thing that makes my computer go off the internet at 9 or something. I don't know. Maybe I could weave in some sort of, I don't know.
I don't know if something like that exists.
I don't know. Neither do I.
That'd be cool. But so here's where it gets fun, right? Is that we need to now go back to the specific step and say, okay, how can we re-engineer this in such a way that you will have that level of confidence in your ability to stick to it, right? So take a second and think about it. Like, what has stopped you from that 9 p.m.? Is there something that you could change? Maybe could you shorten things down? Could you get everything you need to do done in maybe a half hour? And so you do it from 9:30 to 10. Like, think about that. Take a second of silence, and I'll sit here and be quiet too, and just let me know, like, what do you think you would need to re-engineer in order to give yourself that level of confidence in the habit?
Yeah, it's tricky, Max, because the working at night at all is problematic. Like, in an ideal world, I'm not going to be working after 5 p.m. at all, right?
Unfortunately, we don't live in an ideal world, do we?
What's one habit you want? Yeah. So, yeah, 100% confident. I think not letting myself during the day get railroaded too much by my own desires or parenting needs, so that I get my business basics done before 5 p.m. is going to help a lot. And then if I'm desperate to do business stuff, really just do that half an hour from 8:30 till 9. Just allow myself, while I'm transitioning away from this night work, it feels too much to go, I'm not working at night anymore. But as I transition, perhaps, does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. So put that in a what, when, and where for me.
Oh, yes.
Because that's the key, right? Is like, you got to be able to make it specific enough that you can actually visualize it, or else it's kind of just floating up in the ether.
Yeah, so really it's list up the business basics and get them done by 3:30 p.m. when the kids get home from school, really. That's what.
So you're priming. That's what happens when you really get into a schedule, is like everything is kind of precipitated by another thing already. So yeah, I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah.
Okay, so sorry, say that one more time.
Yeah, list up the business basics and get them done by 3:30. And if I'm desperate to do non-basics, I could do after they get home from school, kind of thing. Or at night while I'm transitioning away from this whole nighttime thing. Yeah.
Okay. When would you need to start the business basics by in order to have them done by 3:30? Because I don't know what all is
Yeah.
wrapped up
Yeah.
in business
Yeah.
basics.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I'd probably have to get at least if I got 2 hours of business basics done by midday, that would be good. So I'd have to start by 9 a.m.
Is midday 11 or is midday 12 in
Day
Australia?
12.
Okay.
So yeah, I
So
reckon I'd have to start by 9. It's tricky. My brain goes in 100 different directions because my brain goes, yeah, but I might have to go to the supermarket on the way home from the child drop off, and then I can't start at 9. Yeah, it just gets a bit railroady, I guess. So perhaps I'd have to start at the absolute latest at 1, I guess, to finish the business basics by 3:30. Yeah.
okay. So then your habit changes, right?
Yeah.
And now it's okay, from 1 to 3, I'm working on my business basics.
Yes, totally.
Okay.
Yeah.
And where so the what is business basics from 1 to 3.
Yeah.
And that's the when as well, but where is that happening? Like, paint that picture.
In my home office.
Okay.
Yeah.
So all in your home office, everything, you're just like there on the computer from 1 to 3, bam, knocking it out.
Yes.
Is that right? Okay. So
I mean, it's probably unrealistic to say I'm doing that every day of the week, but if I have 1 till 3 as a latest time, then it feels okay because I could do that at 9 a.m. Right? If I had it, for example, if I had a client booked in at 1, I could then choose to do it at 9 a.m. You see, things are a little bit fluid with my time. As you might have guessed.
no, that's I feel like that's how it is for all small entrepreneurs. I totally get that.
Yeah.
Okay.
It feels good
Yeah,
to go
so
1 at the latest. Yeah.
okay, good.
Starting at 1 at the latest.
Yeah, that would be like, because obviously there are going to be flex times when that has to happen because life happens.
Yeah.
But the key here is to identify the area that you feel like you're like, okay, this like 99, 100% of the time I can do this.
Yeah.
And then on those times where it doesn't, like, I know that I can do it at this other time, right?
Yeah.
So you kind of already have that fallback planned in.
Yeah.
And that's just, to me, that's not failure. That's just part of engineering a successful habit, right? Because the way that you actually tap into the compounding effect, as far as self-improvement goes, is you just need to maintain the momentum of doing something for long enough in order to tap into that, right? And so your brain at the end of the day really isn't going to care whether it happens at 1 or it happens at 9 or it happens whenever, as long as it got done.
Yes.
Right. And even then, I don't know if this is a quote attributed to me or to someone else, but one of the things, like, when it comes to building habits that actually stick, it's a really, really critical to know that something is always better than nothing. And so what happens is that, like, there were times I've worked out pretty consistently, probably like most days, almost every day for like the last 7 years. And there have been periods where like a week or two will go by, maybe I don't work out. That's pretty infrequent. I'll miss days, probably like 1, maybe 2 times a week now, just with work and everything in life. And there are some times where I really don't want to go to the gym. And so I haven't had those days recently, but probably about a year ago, I was going through a period like that. And so all I would do, it was all I could do sometimes, just to drive to the gym and get there. And I would sit in my car. I wouldn't go inside. I wouldn't open the door. I'd just sit in my car, and then usually I'd take a nap because it was pretty early in the morning, and then I'd drive back home, right? But the key here was like the momentum, right? Because I was getting myself there, and then some days I would have the energy to go in. Some days I'd be like, bro, no, I'm done. But again, like my brain didn't really care long term. It was all about the fact that I was just showing up, keeping that momentum. I was still someone who went to the gym, right? And so even if some days it's like, okay, you just have 1 to 2 that you get it done, or 2 to 3, or like, right, something is always going to be better than nothing. And it's important to know, like, this is all a process of experimentation, right? Habit building, habit engineering is all a process of experimentation. I find that probably the number one reason why people aren't able to be consistent with their habits long term, and I'm not talking like weeks or months, I'm talking like years and decades long term, is frankly because they don't know themselves well enough. They don't actually know what makes them tick. They don't know why they are doing the things that they are doing specifically. And so when you start running these habit experiments, when you start engineering your habits in such a way, like so specifically, so simply, it allows you to say, okay, I was pretty sure that I was 100% confident that I was able to do this, and then I didn't. Why? Right? And because you started with something so specific, you're able to take apart those different pieces and analyze them and say, okay, well, was it my what? Like, was I just tasking myself with doing too much during a certain period of time? Was it my when? Do I need it at a different time? Was it my where? Am I not like in the right environment? Right? And again, like, none of that should be viewed as failure. It should all be viewed as part of the journey of maintaining momentum, right? In order to accomplish eventually the exponential returns. So if we're going to take that and we say your habit is from 1 to 3, you are doing the business basics in your home office. Do you feel 100% confident in your ability to stick to that every single day, Shannon?
Yes. If I say 1 p.m. at the latest, not if I say it has to be that time every day, but 1 p.m. at the latest feels doable.
Yeah, that should be fine. Like the key here is like that you feel confident in your ability to stick to it, right?
Yeah.
That's the big thing. So, okay, cool. So then the last S is sealed, right? And so what type of celebration would you reward yourself with at 3? Is it like you want to put your stickers there, or I forget the other thing that you mentioned.
The sticker was
But what
like,
do you think would be rewarding to you? Yeah.
the sticker was just like at the end of the day, if I had slept the 7 hours or if I had sweated in some sort of movement, that's what the sticker was. But if I think, okay, I've done all my business basics by 3:30 p.m. every day, what's the reward? Good question.
This is the step that I am the worst at personally.
Shannon, you could still use a sticker. You could just do it in the office. Like you could put a sticker on something in the office, like whether you put a piece of paper on the wall that's this month's sticker sheet, or.
Well, I've got my schedule in the office, and that's where I do the stickers at night time, because I do the tracking of the movement and the work and the everything at night. But the tracking could happen at 3 p.m. That's when I could do my sticker.
Yeah.
Yeah, it could.
That's cool. Yes. Maybe I'll just stick with the sticker, but make like really put the sticker happening between 3 and 3:30 p.m. Yeah. Rather than at 11 o'clock at night.
So that's totally fine. If you feel like that would be rewarding for you, then cool, do it. But
I think that is rewarding, but perhaps
you feel like something else might be.
I could add something like, read a book for 15 minutes or go in the garden for 15 minutes or or my reward could be like my nana nap, before the children get home from school.
Yeah. So like, do whatever one of those things you just listed that excites you the most.
Probably a rest, I think.
Okay. Boom. There you go. And that, honestly, that fits perfect, right? Because you're like, okay, I know that if I lock in and I do this focus work, then at 3 p.m. I can have my nap,
Yeah.
right? 15 minutes, cool, boom, done, right? And that again, like, it'll trigger that incentivization. Doing that, like, what gets rewarded gets repeated, right? So cool. All right. Did you get that all written down?
Me? No, I wasn't writing it all, but I can listen to the replay. I'm just going to write
Okay.
down what you just said. What gets rewarded gets repeated.
Oh, I'll send that part to you. I meant, like, write down your habit and your reward.
Oh.
Like, get the what, when, and where,
Okay.
and then write down the way that you're going to seal
Okay.
it.
So 1
I
to
wasn't
3
writing that
at
down,
latest.
so
Yeah. Okay. B. AU 1 to 3 at latest. Followed by sticker and nap.
boom.
And then that just follows on to going to bed at 10 p.m., I guess. You don't then have to name that 10 p.m. thing. You just do it.
Yeah. And it should just kind of flow in because you've primed your environment. And you might find that it doesn't. That it doesn't translate, that something else comes up, and that's okay. That just means that down the line, once you've got the initial, like, the very first step, which it sounds like is making sure you get your work done on time, then you say, okay, now I'm going to tackle the obstacle, like, okay, I need to get in bed, like, I want to be in bed, like, right at 10 or something like that. That's a term called habit stacking. If you've read Atomic Habits, that's part of that, is like making sure that you have different habits in different days that are kind of interconnected with each other, and building off of each other. But the key part, like, if you had started, and you'll notice, because your brain already did this naturally, right? When we started, you were like, oh, well, I'm just going to start here with getting to bed at 10. And then you were like, oh, wait, actually, it's really central, and I really just need to get this stuff done from 1 to 3, and then stuff will kind of fall into place more, right? So we're in the right way. Okay, so that's everything that I've got. The only other thing, and this is specifically for Shannon, but it would also apply to everyone else, is that I would be doing a bad job of actually getting you to be consistent with your habit, Shannon, if I didn't try to charge you money, right? There's the psychological effect of just paying and, like, saying, okay, this is something that I'm going to invest in. This is a public commitment that I am making. Money does that, right? It increases your commitment levels to actually doing that habit, right? And so I have my own community that I run. I mentioned it at the beginning, right? Helping family-oriented, busy moms to not only build habits that actually stick, but stay consistent with those habits. And as part of that, and any of you guys can join this, you're welcome to. I'd love to have you. You don't have to. I'm not here to force anyone to do anything. But the value is there, like, the method works. And I love this. It's great.
Can I
But
ask, why did you choose your group to be mums that are busy with life and business and everything? Why did you choose that?
For a couple different reasons. The first one is, I think moms are the backbone of society. I love my mom. My mom's actually in the group.
Oh, so cool.
Yeah, no, she's an angel. But I just see how much they do for people, and I feel like it's kind of an underserved demographic. And then the other reason is a lot more logical. And the fact that I've done a lot of business to business sales in my day, and there's a lot of red tape with that, and I just don't want to have to deal with the red tape. Like, I want to be B2C. I can go straight to the moms and say, hey, this is what I do. You either want it or you don't. And the values there, like, I know the values there. So, yeah, it's been, it's just who I want to work with at the end of the day. I've dealt with a lot of business shenanigans, and I would just prefer to work with the moms who want to actually change. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, it does. It makes sense. Yeah.
But yeah, so there's a number of different things in the community that you would get when you join. The first thing is that all of you, anyone who joins, would get a video call with me, where we'd be able to engineer a habit just like Shannon and I did, like Eva and I did on the call. And so you'd get that, and so we'd be able to engineer a habit so you have a specific example to go from. Then we also have weekly calls, which for my time are Wednesday at 5 p.m. in the afternoon. That translates to something Thursday in Australia time. I think maybe in the morning. I'm not 100% sure. I do not have your time zone memorized. I apologize. But even if it's a time that doesn't work for you, all of those calls are recorded. And I'm building a database of those calls so you can go back and say, oh, well, this group call, they talked about this habit of working out, or this group call, they talked about reading, or this group call, they talked about spending time with the kids or the family or whatever, right? It just is different based off of the week. And so you get access to all of those. Then the thing that I'm personally the most excited for, just because I'm a nerd, is I built what I'm calling Habit Engineer AI. So it's a custom GPT that you can go ask questions to, that has been trained on the Triple S method. So if you go say, hey, this is a habit that I want to build, how can I build this with the Triple S method? It'll spit that back out to you. And it's also trained and will continually be getting better in a compound effect way, because I run my business and my life by this method, and I've been doing it for years, and it freaking works. But I read biographies and autobiographies of ultra high achieving individuals, and then I pull the habits that allow them to become ultra high achievers. And I take notes on all of those, and I am training the Habit Engineer AI on those notes. So you would get access to be able to ask that question or that database questions, and it will give you answers to that, and also give you answers to that in the Triple S method format. And then the only other thing is we have like daily accountability emails that we'll send out just saying, hey, did you stick to your habit today? Yes or no. Those can either be emails or text, depending on what works better for you. And yeah, that's it. So all of that is $54 a month, which I'm not sure what that converts to in Australian dollars either. But there's a QR code link. So I maybe it might pull up that as in Australian dollars already, or it might just go to normal dollars. I'm actually not sure. And there will be so that one will go straight to the community, and then have one other one after anyone is done scanning that one. But does anyone have any questions for me, just generally, while we give people a chance to scan that?
I'm wondering whether people can join for the 1 month or they're locked in for longer.
It's just the 1 month, so it's month by month. There's an option to do the annual thing, but if you want to sign up for just a month and then leave, you can totally do that. I can't stop you.
Yeah.
I would love to, but I can't.
That might be against the law. So Max, So you do this system for every new habit that you want to incorporate into your life, and then those habits just then become part of your life. Like you don't then have to think about them or any of that sort of stuff. It just becomes just what you do. Is that right?
Mhm.
Yep.
More or less. It does become definitely like a part of your identity after a period of time. And that period of time is totally dependent on you and how much you care about it, right? Like there are meth addicts who wake up one day and say, you know what? I'm not a meth addict anymore. I'm never touching meth ever again. And then they don't, right? For the rest of their life. Um, and so you can experience that same effect, but in the positive, right? So it's like you can wake up one morning and say, you know what, I'm going to work out every single day for the rest of my life, and then do it. It really just comes down to how bad do you want it. At that point, there's a quote. Eric Thomas, he's a famous motivational speaker guy. He just says something to the effect of, when you want to change as badly as you want to breathe, that's when real change happens, right? And so those things that would be habits like right off the bat, those are the things that really come when you want to change them as badly as you want to breathe. But for most of the habits that you'll set throughout your life, it's probably not that bad, and that's okay. Just recognize that it might take 6 months, a year. I don't like it. It honestly just depends on the habit basis. But eventually it will get to a point where it becomes part of your identity, and it becomes something that you will miss after a certain period of time. I wouldn't go so far to say it's something that I just like automatically do without thinking. I would say that it's something that if I go throughout the day and I don't do it, or I go throughout a couple days and I don't do it, I start to have a gap. I start to miss doing that thing. Because I've had the positive effect building in me for so long that when it falls off, I start to miss that thing. Like a good example, I was on vacation. Was that just last week? Oh, maybe it was 2 weeks ago. I don't know. And over vacation, I didn't really work out a whole lot. It was probably about a week straight or so that I just really didn't do much of anything workout wise. And I got back into town on like a Tuesday in like the afternoon, maybe around 2 p.m. And I was just so excited to go and work out. Because I had missed it for that long. I've been doing it for so long. I've seen the positive effects that I just missed it at that point, right? And so it is kind of an indirect answer to your question, but I would say it's not necessarily something that you just like become a machine and you just do all these things subconsciously. There is that element to it, but it's not like as big as you might think it is. It's definitely more of like you become accustomed to doing good things and they become part of your identity. And then when you start to move away from them, if it's for any other reason than like if it's not like a purposeful moving away from them, you start to miss it. And even if it is a purposeful move away, you still miss it. But sometimes it has to be done. It just depends.
Yep. Okay, that makes sense. Thank you.
Great question. Any other ones?
No, I just wanted to add to what Sandra was asking. It depends also on what what, when, and where is. So the habit I worked on with Max was about reading at night before I go to sleep. And like it's working really, really well. But when I finished the book that I was reading when I started, and if I hadn't then that next morning got another book and put it on my bedside table, I wouldn't have had the what, when, and where to continue building the habit. So I don't have to think about it every night when I get into bed. I get into bed, I pick up my book and I start reading. But like when I finished the book, I had to put in place an extra step into the habit to make sure I had the what, when, and where ready. Does that help a little bit?
Yeah.
So, yeah,
That would fall into priming your environment.
yeah.
Yeah, for sure. That's a good point. Any other thoughts, questions, comments, violent reactions? Hopefully none of those, but
Hey, Max, I just wanted to say that it's like, there's a habit of mine that I've been trying to put into place for ages, which is about doing my rehab for my knee and my shoulder. And as I'm kind of like writing out the what, when, and what, where, and when, I'm just realizing how vague I have been with that. Like I've put it in my calendar, but I haven't done what exactly is it that I'm actually doing. And I'm thinking, I've actually forgotten all the exercises. I'm going to have to go back to my notes and actually look at what specifically are the exercises that I want to do as part of my rehab. Look at my calendar. When do I actually want to do it during the week? And then I need to set up my environment. And, my place is a mess at the moment. So it's like I haven't got the environment. I'm like, no wonder this habit hasn't actually started. Like, so it's just been,
Yep.
that was a really great session. Thank you to get me to realize where I've not been putting stuff into place to help set me up for success. So yeah, that was great. Thank you. Great reminder.
yeah, no,
And particularly
I'm
that
glad you
simple
found
bit,
value.
is this something that I can 100% confidently do for the rest of my life? And I'm just like, yeah, no. So yeah, great. That was really good. Thank you.
Yeah. I'm glad that you found value in it. Honestly, like I'm just obsessed with teaching this stuff. I love it. Like that's at the end of the day, like that's my end goal, is just to make enough money so that I can support myself and my family and stuff, and just focus on just teaching people this all the time. Because well, maybe it's different in Australia, but they don't teach this in schools in the US. Like they say, oh, go do your homework. Oh, get good grades. Oh, make sure you study for your test. How? Tell me how. They don't tell you how. They just say all of these what things that you need to do, and they never tell you how. And it's gotten to the point. I've said this thing enough times. Like it's really starting to piss me off a little bit. I'm like, come on, guys. Like, yeah, it's so frustrating. So, my end goal is to really like just get the community, make enough money so that I can support myself, family, etc., and then just like focus on teaching. Because really, like, and I know because it freaking works. Like there's no question about it. It takes some time to engineer and everything, but it does work. And so I know the value's there, and I know the money will come. Like 2 to 3 years down the line, this is going to be huge. You're going to see it everywhere. And maybe it takes 5, maybe it takes 10. I really don't care. I'm going to do this the rest of my life. And like but it is like the value is there to such a point that it's going to be something that someone's going to get a hold of, or maybe I just push it out enough times that people finally see it and they're like, oh shoot, like, hey, this is legit, like this is a thing, so I'm excited for that in the future. But
Yeah, look, Max, thank you so much. There's things going left, right, and center in the comments about how good it's been to. I don't know if you've got the comments open, but just how much
no,
they
I actually
appreciate
haven't looked
your
at all.
time. And no, just people just commenting and saying thanks and how fantastic it was, and how spot on you are with all the things that you've been saying. And I love your passion. I mean, that's why, and the system, like it does work from the, I could see from the, as we sort of started talking those weeks ago. And then, as I said, the proof's in the pudding that this one thing that I engineered with you is actually already made such a huge difference. So, if anybody wants to get in touch with Max, he did put up the QR code for his school community.
So there's that one, and then I've also got this. That'll take you to my page. It's got all the social media links and everything where you can follow me. I'm posting stuff every day. It has the link for the document, like the written out version of the Triple S method. So you can get access to that. I'll have that document there. I would probably try to save this link somewhere because you can go back to it and review it if you lose the document or something. But yeah, I'm everywhere: Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. Not Snapchat. I am on LinkedIn. I am on X. And we're just putting this all out. Like I'll film podcast episodes and clip little bits of it. And so we're posting those. I have like an email list and stuff that's just like 1% better. Starts with you, and I send out a quote that I really love. I'm obsessed. I've been collecting quotes for like the last 5 years. They're great. And so we'll send out a short blurb with that. But yeah, that's the deal.
All right, fantastic.
So
Thank you
much.
so much. Thank you, everybody. I hope everybody found it as useful as Shannon and I have. And if there's any questions, you guys can get in touch with Max or pass them through me. That's not a problem. Max, thank you again so much for your time. Enjoy the rest of your Thursday, and we'll enjoy our Friday, and
There you go.
and yeah, I will see you guys all later. Thanks so much.
Yeah, great to meet you all. Appreciate you. Have a
Thank
blessed
you.
day.
Thank you.
Bye. Thanks, Eva. Thanks, Max.
Bye.
Bye.